Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. With your host, Lee Martin, and co-host, Florence Myers-McSwine.
We want to thank you for joining us with the National Federation of the Blind Newsline show. And today, once again, we've just been so blessed and enriched to have so many just valuable guests to the community, Florence. And today we have another one.
We do.
And I'm looking forward to this particular show, as we do to all our shows, and we trust that you stay tuned and pay attention to this valuable information that we have to share. But first, we want to take and share the information about the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Service. It is one of the programs of the National Federation of the Blind, and it comes to you in with a number of features. So Florence, let's talk a little bit about the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Service.
All right. Lee, it is a free service for the blind. It's a free audio service for the blind in Prince County's community. It gives us access to newspapers, magazines, TV guide listings, Walmart, Target circulars. It gives us weather alerts, job listings. So it gives us a lot of valuable information.
I mean, valuable information,
yes,
too. I mean, it's so imperative that we have information right there at our fingertips, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And once again, it is free. You can reach over 500 publications, and we have 17 international publications, all the way from Jerusalem to China to Russia and so forth. And we also have 17 publications here throughout the state of Indiana. And I know that our Indiana residents and consumers that qualify for this service are really elated to have this particular service. And we're adding publications each year. So this year we are going to add the Marion publication for Marion, Indiana. And next year we'll be adding Kokomo, Indiana to our publications. So we're looking forward to more and more publications with the National Federation of the Blind. Now, Florence, you like to read magazines.
I do.
And what are some of your favorite magazines?
One of my favorite magazines, Lee, is WebMD. It gives me a lot of information. I like to know basically what's going on as far as technologies, information, medical information. I like to know what's going on with my body. So that's one of my favorite magazines. Another one is Shape Magazine. I also like to read Guidepost. Guidepost is an inspirational magazine I've been reading for years. And it's just good to know that I can still access that information through NFB Newsline.
And there's something in our publications for each and every one. We have the AARP magazine as well as the AARP newsletter. And for children, we have the Stone Soup, and there's we got other newspapers or magazines that are going to be coming out just for children. And what's the young ladies magazine that's out there? Glamour?
There is Glamour magazine, also Teen magazine. So there's information, in that in Newsline for everybody, Lee. There's also for me, and there's GQ magazine.
Yeah, and then and like I like to keep up with sports. And right now we have a real good sports team here in Indianapolis with the Indiana Pacers and the Indianapolis Colts and the Fever and the soccer team. I don't know their name, but we can keep up with those. And I'll tell you, that's a valuable source. Indy 11, and it's a very good team. They just lost. They just barely lost out going into the championship series. So we just want to say there's something in NFB Newsline for everyone. Stay tuned, pay attention to our commercials, and you'll learn how to contact us, and we'll be more than glad to provide you with more information about this free service of the National Federation of the Blind. We'll be right back with our guest. You don't want to miss it.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I am a CFP practitioner, and I happen to be blind. I rely on NFB Newsline to keep me current with Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
As I travel the nation, I read NFB Newsline.
I live in Valparaiso, Indiana, and I listen to my local news on NFB Newsline.
As a student, I enjoy reading current events on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today.
Well, welcome back to this week's National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show. And it is my pleasure to introduce today's guest, Mr. Greg Blackman from I Can See, Inc. And Greg, welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show, Greg.
Thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, Greg, tell us a little bit about Greg Blackman first.
All right. Well, I work for I Can See Incorporated. I've worked for the company since 1998 when we started this about 21 years ago. It's hard to believe. We're a family company. Started this with my father, Tom Blackman. And we have, for the last 21 years, been providing services for low vision and blindness in the state of Indiana and Kentucky. We work with everybody from a person that walks in off of the street to our store, to K through 12 schools, to vocational rehab, to the VA, libraries, and everything in between. We work with everything from your most basic handheld magnifier, glass magnifier, to your most technologically advanced tool for low vision or blindness, and everything in between. We do both hardware and software, so we do things that you can touch, like magnifiers, braille displays, things like that. But then we also do software as well for people to access the computer. So we provide these products, we provide training for these products, and we have a store in Indianapolis, but we travel the whole state of Indiana and Kentucky. And like I said, we've been doing this for about 21 years now.
Okay. Now, with I Can See, Inc., I know that there's a play on words. It's EYE-CANSEE.
Yep,
Inc.
I Can See.
Yes. And now with the I Can See, your technology that you have, I'm sure that you said it's a family-owned business. So what would you say is your mission of I Can See, Inc.?
Our mission is to provide whatever services we can to individuals that have any variety of visual impairments to help them accomplish the goals that they want to in life. And for everybody, that's something different. For example, my grandmother, I like to use as an example, she had macular degeneration for about 20 years. And so it just so happened that she had macular degeneration right around when this company started. Her biggest goal was doing the crossword puzzle every day, okay? So she wanted a tool to do that. You know, there's a lot of other things that people might want to do. They might be at a job, and they want to accomplish their job. They might want to be able to check their email. They might want to know who just walked in the door. They might want to be able to read. They might be able to want to know what currency they just pulled out. Is it a $1 bill? Is it a $20 bill? What color is the piece of shirt, that I want to put on? Some people just want to be able to read a menu when they go to a restaurant. So there's a lot of different goals. What is that person's goal? And then what can we do to meet those goals? Whether it's through some of the products that we provide, some of the services and training, or a combination thereof. So we kind of work backwards. We talk to an individual and we say, here's where we are, what do we want to accomplish, and what can we do to get to those goals.
Now tell me, Greg, oftentimes these types of services to those that have full vision, it seems frivolous. But to people like myself and Florence, and I'm sure many of your clients, it means the world to them to have such a service, to have such technologies there for them. Now, with that in mind, what are some of the challenges that you see with the consumer as far as the technology is concerned? Is it in training? Is it in cost? What do you see when you get a freshly new client in?
I would say the first challenge is almost before getting that new client in. The first challenge is letting people know that these services and products exist in the first place, right? I mean, so much of the time, so if somebody, let's say, is struggling with hearing loss, I would say almost everybody knows that there is something called a hearing aid, okay? When people are struggling with vision loss, not everybody knows. I mean, people know that there's something called a magnifier that a lot of times you can find in a local drugstore, but a lot of people don't know that there's something called, a video magnifier, or there's vision aids out there. So just the knowledge of letting people know that these things exist. I can't tell you how many times we have a client walk in our door that says, I wish I would have known you were here 5 years ago, 10 years ago. What have I been doing, these things. So we hear that all the time. So I think the biggest challenge is letting people know that just because you may be losing your vision, that doesn't mean that there are doors that are closing in your life. There's just other ways that you're going to have to open them. And a lot of people might not know that. So that's the number one challenge. And then I'd say the second challenge probably, in a lot of cases, is cost, because none of these things at this point are really covered by insurance. So if a person just walks in our store and wants to purchase an item, there's obviously different prices, but these things aren't covered by insurance, whereas a lot of other medical services and devices would be. Now, there are agencies that do provide funding for these, like vocational rehab if an individual is employed, seeking employment, or is in school or seeking to be in school, or VA if an individual is a veteran. There are local Lions clubs sometimes, and local churches and things like that will help. But I would say funding is another big concern. We try to work with people, and that's another thing that we try to work backwards. We try to talk to an individual and say, okay, what is your budget? Okay, what can we do to kind of work with your budget, and then go backwards. We understand that some of these items are not inexpensive. So I would say those are the two biggest hurdles. And then after that, training, learning how to use the items. But most of these items are pretty user-friendly. Once they get past those first two, knowing that we exist, and then, finding what you want and being able to secure the funding, then training on the items and learning how to use them in daily life, that really is, these items are meant to be pretty user-friendly.
Okay, so I can see, Inc., you provide training with these devices, Greg?
Upon request. So it all depends. We provide a lot of services to different folks. So certainly when folks come into our store, and we work with schools, local libraries and things like that, we provide all of the training. A lot of the time when we're working with vocational rehab clients and veterans, a lot of times at that point the training is provided by whatever agency recommended that equipment, which is fine, and there's a lot of people that are certified to train on this equipment. So we certainly can and do provide training when requested. And then, like I said, a lot of the times it just all depends upon where it comes from. But training for whatever somebody is getting is always part of it, whether it's something small that just requires a quick introduction, or something that requires maybe multiple hours of training. From somebody, that always comes to be part of it, learning how to use these devices every day.
No, Greg, we, in our society right now, it's estimated that more and more people will be coping with sight loss in some degree, whether it's from diabetes, macular degeneration, and other diseases. And most of those will be seniors with the baby boom generation. Mm-hmm. And the way the funding has been set right now, a lot of people seniors are falling through the loopholes, through the cracks, because there's, not that funding there for vocational rehab. and the training that's required for, it's individuals that's coping with sight loss. So where do you see that trend going to as far as getting that type of training, that type of funding, so that your business can continue to strive and bring these great products to the consumer?
Well, first of all, you're exactly right. Over the last several years, unfortunately, as there have been changes to VR, individuals that may be seniors that years ago would have qualified for VR. When I first started, and for years, these individuals were qualified for VR under, basically head of household distinction, basically saying, I need the independence to run my house, my apartment, whatever it may be, to stay independent. Now that that distinction is gone, unfortunately, there is that void, as you said. And so what we have done is just try to do kind of what I had mentioned before, work backwards, because that is something that we have encountered quite a bit. So if we have a client that may be on a fixed income, that's a senior citizen, and we've identified a piece of equipment that really works for them, we just talk to them about what can we do, what can you afford, and we set up some type of payment plan. And we are not a bank. We're not out here to try to set up financing options. We just quite simply just divide the cost of the item up into however many months it works for somebody. Okay, so we try to be as user friendly as we can when it comes to that, and try to work around people's budgets so they don't feel like they have to spend a lot of money up front. And then the training that we provide, that if you're a customer that comes in and gets equipment from us, we provide the training. Okay, so that's just part of that. We're not going to, whatever the piece of equipment is, you're going to be proficient at it, and if you're not, then we're going to follow up and give you as much training as it takes, because our goal is to provide equipment for people and then fully train them or make sure that they know how to use it.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short pause, Greg and Florence, and our viewing and listening audience, and we're going to be right back with some more valuable information. So stay tuned.
I'm Danny Wayne Beamer, Program Manager of the Elder Blind Program at the Will Center in Terre Haute, Indiana. I introduce the NFB Newsline to seniors in 13 southwestern counties in Indiana. I also utilize the NFB Newsline for my radio station public affairs shows. The NFB Newsline. Experience it today.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
Wow, I scored a touchdown when I found sports on NFB Newsline.
I enjoy reading TV guide listings on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind. We read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
Well, welcome back to this segment of the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show, and we're speaking with Greg Blackman from I Can See Inc. And Greg, you brought some equipment in for us today. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, great. Well, I tried to bring just a little sampling of some portable pieces of equipment, some new things that really have just kind of come out here recently, and some things, again, that are portable that people can take with them. So I just brought a few different examples, and when I talk about things, I always like to kind of talk about them in categories. Mm-hmm. So this first piece of equipment I brought, this is called the Ruby XL HD, but basically there's a family of these Ruby portable video magnifiers, and that's really what this represents, is these portable video magnifiers, something that is about the size of a cell phone that can fit in somebody's pocket, purse, anything like that. A lot of times they have a handle that extends out so people can hold it kind of like they would a traditional glass magnifier. But it has a video screen. Okay, so you can do a lot of things that you can't do with the glass magnifier, like adjust the magnification. You know, a traditional handheld magnifier will be 4x, 5x, whatever it may be for eternity. But this can range from 2x to 20x, whatever you want, and everything in between. You can also change the color, foreground, and backgrounds. You can take pictures, you can save pictures, you can do a lot of things with these. So these are really nice for individuals who may be going to a restaurant, going to the store, or maybe just looking at things around their house like the thermostat or controls on their oven, notes on the fridge. Anything that you want to do that's portable, you can do with one of these small little video magnifiers. So there's a bunch of these out there, and we work with a lot of them. They kind of range in price for a new one of these from around $500 up to $800 or $900, just depending upon how big you want it and how many features you want. But this one right here is the Ruby XL HD. It's a 5-inch one. It's probably the most popular item, honestly, that we carry here. So that's these small guys. And then I also brought next to that an item called the Optelec Compact 10. Now this is brand new. This is quite literally, this is a brand new item that we got in for the first time, I think yesterday or the day before. This is the first time that we or I have shown this to anybody. So this is the inaugural unveiling of this product in Indiana. But this is a 10-inch video magnifier that somebody can take with them. It's still portable. It's still something that can fit in somebody's bag. You're getting closer to the size of a tablet screen, but still something that, again, is very portable. You're going to be able to fit a lot more on the screen with the 10-inch screen. You can zoom in and zoom out, change the foreground and background, and do a lot of things like that. But you just have a larger screen. So if somebody is going to be doing some traveling from place to place, maybe they're a student, maybe going to and from the office, they want something that they can take with them, but they want to be able to do a little more reading than the small guys, then something like this would work. And you know, there's now a lot of these video magnifiers that are in this size range from, I'm going to say, like 10 to 13 inches that are fold out a little bit like a tablet in a 45-degree angle. And they're all battery powered, all very portable. You know, and they range from around $1,500 to $1,900. That's kind of the next price point up for these, you know, 10 to 13 inch portable video magnifiers. And some of them even have speech, or OCR, the optical character recognition, the ability to read speech out loud. Okay.
So would that be also valuable for a person that's totally blind since it has speech?
So, well, video magnifier with OCR would be for somebody that still has enough vision to use the video magnifier, but maybe losing vision, or maybe at some point suffer from eye fatigue after you start reading for a while, and so OCR, or having it read out loud to you, is beneficial. Now, if you're an individual who is completely blind or is losing most of their sight and wants to be able to have things read out loud, that's when you would get something, which the next device over, which is called the OrCam here. And the OrCam kind of represents a whole other category of devices that's pretty new, I would say, within the last few years. And these are head-mounted devices. Okay, devices that an individual wears, like glasses, are mounted, quite frankly, to their head. So the OrCam is a small little device that is OCR. Essentially, it takes pictures and reads things out loud to you. It does a lot of different things. But it's a small device that, with a clip, with a magnet here, just clips right here to somebody's glasses frames. It comes with a set of frames, or it can connect to your own glasses. And this will read anything out loud. So any printed text, if I have a piece of paper, if I have a newspaper, if I'm walking up and I see a sign, it will read it out loud, okay? So the number one goal of the OrCam is to read, okay? So you can read books, you can read your mail. Again, as you're walking around, you can read signs, anything like that. But it also does things like facial recognition. You can program in faces. So if somebody walks in, you can program it in as Mom, as your friend's name, Karen, John, whatever it may be. It will say that name as soon as you look at their face, okay? We've had individuals who have different children or different family members in their house, and instead of asking, who is this, every time they walk in, they program them all. So as soon as it looks at them, it says, Karen. As soon as they walk in, they know exactly who just walked in the door, okay?
Yeah, that's fantastic. What's the cost on that?
This ranges from $3,500 to $4,500, depending upon which one you want. It does a lot of other things, like recognizes currency, what dollar bill you pull out. It does color recognition. It does the time of day. If you look at your wrist, either wrist, without a watch on, it'll tell you the time of the day and the date. It does a variety of different things. So
Okay, and we have several other items on the table there.
Yeah.
We got about 30 seconds to
Okay.
talk about them.
I'm going to get to this last guy here is called the Sunu Band, and this is a nice little mobility device. You wear it like a watch, like a Fitbit, and it vibrates, and it tells you when you've got obstacles in front of you. What's great about it is it does headborne, it does from your head to your toes, from 6 to 14 feet away, so it'll vibrate and let you know when you've got an obstacle coming head to toe. Also has a GPS in there as well to help you get around. So this is a really nice mobility device, okay? Even if somebody has a cane or a guide dog, leader dog, you can still have the Sunu Band here and help you get around as well. So, we've got some portable video magnifiers here for individuals who have some sight, have some low vision. You can get them with or without speech. I even have one here that's more of a laptop size. And we've got some text-to-speech devices and then a mobility device here as well.
Okay, well, we're going to take us a short pause for the conclusion of our show, and we'll be right back after the commercial break.
The National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. Every day we raise the expectations of blind people because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back.
Welcome to the conclusion of today's show with our guest today, Greg Blackman. And Greg, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, they can give us a call at 317-258-6747. That is actually my direct line. You can email me at greglowvision@gmail.com. That's just G-R-E-G, lowvision@gmail.com. We also have a store located in the Broad Ripple area of Indianapolis at 6117 North College Avenue in Suite number 3. We encourage people to call that number, my number at 317-258-6747 to set an appointment. But we do have walk-ins as well. We're pretty much open 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, and we will set weekend appointments. We also cover the entire state of Indiana and Kentucky. So if travel is an issue getting to Indianapolis, we will come to you. Feel free to give me a call. We'll set up an appointment and come visit you anywhere in the state and bring you some equipment. We'd be happy to demonstrate it for you there as well.
All right, then.
Well, Greg, we want to thank you once again. And like we said before, Florence, has been a great show.
Yes.
Greg, thank you so much once again. Appreciate it. And
Thank
God
you.
bless you. And tell your dad I said hello.
Certainly will do likewise.
All right, so join us next week on a brand new show. We look forward to talking with you then.
The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 855-963-6476. That's 855-963-6476. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.